Have you ever felt like you're on a wild goose chase, searching for something that seems impossible to find? As English learners, understanding common idioms like this one can be a real challenge. But it's also key to improving your communication skills. Let me share a funny story that shows what can happen when you take an idiom too literally. My friend Lily was asked to go on a wild goose chase to find a rare book for her boss. She spent hours searching high and low, even going to the local farm, but couldn't find a single goose, let alone a rare book. So, what does a wild goose chase actually mean? This idiom refers to a foolish pursuit of something that is impossible to find or achieve. It originated in the 16th century, when wild goose chase was a type of horse race, where riders had to follow an unpredictable path, just like chasing a wild goose. Let's see how the idiom is used correctly. Imagine your boss asks you to research the latest marketing trends for an important presentation. You dive in, focusing on the most relevant information and avoiding unnecessary tangents. This way, you're not going on a wild goose chase, but efficiently completing the task at hand. Here are some examples of how a wild goose chase can be used in different contexts. In a casual conversation, I spent all day searching for my lost keys, but it was just a wild goose chase. In a formal setting, the investigation into the missing funds turned out to be a wild goose chase, as there was no evidence of wrongdoing. In a negative context, don't send me on another wild goose chase. I need concrete results, not endless speculation. In a humorous context, my friend thought he could win the lottery, but that was just a wild goose chase. In a literary context, the protagonist embarked on a wild goose chase, chasing a lead that ultimately led nowhere. In a business setting, we can't afford to waste time on wild goose chases. Let's focus on the most promising opportunities. On social media, spent the whole day searching for a rare collectible online, but it was just a wild goose chase. To help you remember the meaning of a wild goose chase, try picturing a person chasing after a wild, unpredictable goose that keeps flying away. This visual image captures the futility and frustration of pursuing something that is impossible to catch. Here are some fun facts about the idiom a wild goose chase. The origin of the phrase wild goose chase isn't entirely clear, but it's believed to date back to the 16th century. One theory suggests it referred to a kind of horse race with a convoluted, unpredictable path. The idiom appears in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, highlighting its long-standing use in English literature. Over time, the usage of the idiom has evolved, and it is now commonly used to describe any futile or hopeless pursuit. Here are some idioms and phrases that are similar to or related to a wild goose chase. Similar: a fool's errand, a lost cause, a shot in the dark. Opposite: a sure thing, a piece of cake, a walk in the park. Related: chase a rainbow, chase your tail, chasing windmills. Let's try using a wild goose chase in a sentence. The detective's investigation into the missing jewels turned out to be a wild goose chase. Now, let's rephrase the same idea without using the idiom. The detective's investigation into the missing jewels was futile and led nowhere. I remember a time when my friend Sarah used a wild goose chase perfectly in a conversation. She was telling me about how she had spent hours searching for a rare book for her boss, only to find out it had been out of print for years. She said, "It was just a wild goose chase. I should have known better than to think I could find that book." Her use of the idiom really captured the frustration and futility of her search. Here are some common mistakes and tips to avoid them when using the idiom a wild goose chase. Grammatical mistake: saying a wild goose chasing instead of a wild goose chase. The correct form is a wild goose chase. Meaning misunderstanding, thinking the idiom refers to literally chasing a wild goose, rather than a futile pursuit. Remember, it's about an impossible, fruitless search. Inappropriate context, using the idiom to describe a task that is actually achievable, rather than something that is truly impossible or hopeless. Make sure the context fits the meaning of the idiom. Let's test your understanding of the idiom a wild goose chase. 1. What is the meaning of a wild goose chase? A. A type of horse race. B. Chasing a wild goose. C. A futile pursuit. D. All of the above. 2. Which of these is a synonymous expression to a wild goose chase? A. A sure thing. B. A fool's errand. C. A piece of cake. D. A walk in the park. In summary, a wild goose chase is a common idiom that refers to a futile pursuit of something that is impossible to find or achieve. Understanding the meaning and proper usage of this idiom can help you communicate more effectively in English. Now it's your turn. Share your own experiences with a wild goose chase in the comments below. Try using the idiom in a sentence, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more English idiom lessons.